Well, hello. Hello. Welcome to the Talon Games Online Twitch channel. It's Monday. I am James, sometimes known as Mad Dog. This is Mad Dog Mondays, a day where we get together and hang out and just, sort of paint, hobby, kit bash, terrain, whatever happens to be the right thing to do. This is just a sort of hangout paint day, virtual paint day sort of day for us here in Cavland. Welcome everybody who has decided to join us. I appreciate it. I'm glad to see you. We'll hang around a few minutes before we really start to tinker with anything, see if anybody wants to show up. This is Christmas week, so I hope that all of you out there are excited, first of all, foremost, happy, safe, excited for Christmas or whatever other holiday you may choose to honor in your own way. It's perfectly fine. We like all the holidays. Holidays are a good thing, typically. At least I think they are. So, we've been working for a while here on our self-propelled guns, our kit bashes, invented, made-up units for Cav. Something that doesn't exist in the game just yet, but hopefully maybe we might find a way to get them in there. So these are just some armadillo treads that we thought we could cabbage together, and the gun off of a grizzly that we mated together, and so we made 4 of them here so we can have a little squad of them. We got 4 bases here. We're going to try and finish up these bases tonight, maybe get these guys glued down on top of their bases and talk about how we're going to go about controlling them, who's really in charge of these self-propelled guns, and where are they at. Haven't quite figured that out yet. I'm not certain if I want to go with a separate stand or put some people on the base. Anyway, that's all stuff we've been over before. So I think we're going to get started here. This is the original one, the test one that when I ended up using an oil wash on it, I took it down a little bit darker than I really intended. I did a little bit of an oil wash on these guys today. I don't know if you can make it out, but you can see this kind of shadowing here. So I can get that a little bit closer and still keep it in focus. Not really sure where the sweet spot's going to be. Right there. Anyway, there is some nice oil pin washing that happened right in here. I used Winsor Newton Van Dyke Brown, I believe, to come in here and do this little bit of washing. This bit in here, or this bit around the rivets, a little less generous than when I did it here. A little thinner, so it flowed a little smoother. Seemed to come out okay. I'm not unhappy with it. I'm kind of in the mood to get these guys done and move on to my next project, which I believe is going to be my customized Simba for Misdeeds Freebooters. I think probably when we come back after the holidays, I'm going to start tinkering around with this and trying to experiment with how I'm going to paint it. Misdeeds Freebooters is seems like we talk about this all the time, but that's okay. I like it. It's basically a fan-made pirate group in the Cav universe. It's not official, at least officially official. Just a bunch of us getting together, and basically the idea is each one of us creates a customized Cav of some kind, kit bash. Just modify the thing a little bit, or even just play it stock and paint it however you like. The only thing that it requires is that you paint, for calves, you paint one of the legs red. I'm going to paint this one, I think, because it's up front where you can see it nicely. And then other than that, you can paint any scheme you want. And so the way you know you're looking at a member of Misdeeds Freebooters is you see a cab with a red leg. It doesn't matter what's over here. And there are lots of reasons for that. People had good suggestions. If this becomes a thing and we can get this pumped up and we get new people to show up, we could have a paint and take day where people actually just paint up more and more members of Misdeeds Freebooters, and all you have to do is do a red leg and then whatever makes you happy, and you're done. It could be fancy up here, it could be simple up here, whatever makes you happy. So I think this is probably the next project that we're going to work on. I'm not quite sure. I haven't decided exactly what method I'm going to use to paint these guys. I might I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet. I might stick with acrylics. I might try and paint this with some oil paints. I've been trying to learn how to paint with oils from Mr. James Wapple in his excellent Twitch stream. If you're not following James Wapple, then you probably should. He's an excellent, beyond excellent painter. And he's recently, to my experience, started streaming about oil painting. And so I've gone in and bought some oil paints and labeled them and made up my own pre-made jars, all following his kind of direction, and I've been trying to learn how to paint with them. I haven't done a lot of painting with them just yet. I tinkered with a spatha I had laying around the other day, just to see how it would come out. Didn't really have any idea what I was doing. This is really the first thing I ever seriously tried to paint with oil paints, and it was just me experimenting with the blending, really. And boy, I tell you what, these blends, like right in here, these aren't particularly good, but they are so easy, it's crazy. The oil paints are just, they're so easy to blend, it's crazy. Anyway, this was a good first experiment. I tried to make like a green turret and a gray or a white body. I'm not sure it really worked out very well. It's kind of washes out in the camera. It's hard to get these colors to show up properly. It's a little stronger in person, but yeah, is what it is. It's just a learning process. So, I'm checking just to make sure I'm not muted here. People can hear me? If there's anybody out there? If there's not, that's cool too. It is holiday week. Everybody's got things to do. You probably have cookies to bake and presents to wrap and all kinds of things like that. But I thought what we would start out with today is we would start out working on the bases for these guys. So I had these bases that I made some green stuff hills and just randomly put some impressions in. And what I thought I would do is I primed them up black right before the stream, and then I thought I would do is I'd come in and kind of do kind of a zenithal highlight, but a little different. Typically, in my experience, when you zenithal highlight something, you do it, kind of at well, this one is zenithal highlighted. So you can see there's like a focal point, like the light is coming at this model from this angle, and so it's brighter here, and that light fades off into the distance, and as it wraps around into shadow, you get darker colors. That's kind of the idea here, right? Is to let the primering basically add the light values, and then you just bring in some thin paints that will let the light value shine through them to paint the model with. And so that was my original idea with this guy, and so that's what this is. What I plan to do with these bases is instead of coming in, at a high angle like this to do my zenithal, I'm going to come in at a super steep angle like this. And so the paint out of the airbrush is going to come in, and it'll be a little tiny bit like dry brushing. It's really, it's going to hit on this side if this is the way I come in, but it's going to be very faint. It's not going to be a very strong effect, I think. I say that. Who knows? Maybe nothing will really happen. So, again, this is just a hangout. I'm not here to really teach anything. I'm just telling you things that I know. It's the sort of experience you might get in your local store. If you were to be here in Tulsa, you could go down to Dice Addiction, which is a wonderful little local store, and hang out with Ludo, and Ludo would show you how to do things that are, all his experience in painting would bring to the table. This is that sort of thing. Thursday night down at Dice Addiction, or back when Team Covenant was still running around, you'd have Saturday paint day. That was a lot of fun. Anyway, putting on my gloves so I don't get paint all over my hand. Here's my trusty airbrush. It's a Renegade Chrome. I have a number of different airbrushes. I think my favorite brand of airbrushes is Badger. I have the most Badgers. I have a couple of other brands, but Badger seems to be my preferred. It's the one I have the most of. And I'm just going to kind of tinker around here and experiment and try and do some basing. Hey, Elmarin. Nice to see you. Just getting ready to shoot some paint on these bases. Get started on getting these self-propelled guns finished up. Thank you very much for dropping in. Hope you're having a great holiday week. Unfortunately, my compressor is going to kick in at some point. Like I said, it is what it is. We're just hanging out together. I'm not trying to pretend like I'm any kind of professional. I'm just a guy here who wants to not spray his other miniatures with paint. And just having fun. So like I said, I'm going to get this going. Yep. And then I'm going to come in at this really sharp angle. And this is going to be kind of like the airbrush version of dry brushing. I'm just barely clipping the top of that model with the gray paint. Just trying to bring out a little bit of, I don't know if you can even see it. I probably need to bump up give me a second while I try and increase the saturation here a little bit. Bump up the that's for the exposure, maybe one notch. Okay, maybe that'll make it a little bit easier to see. There's a little bit of a dusting of gray right there. And blind as a bat. Gotta fight tip dry all the time. Always keep the tip clean, in the words of many more famous painters than me. I mean, like I said, I'm just trying to bring out some of the detail in this green stuff that I textured onto here a week or 3 ago whenever we were working on these. I'm going to come back after I do this gray and do a layer of white the same way, just on the very tips, to try and, like I said, just try and bring out some of the detail that we squished into this green stuff. Yeah, Ilmarin, I was the same way until a few years ago, and it was one of those, it was a Christmas thing. My wife asked me what I wanted for Christmas one year, a few years back, and I was like, well, I've always been curious about an airbrush, and so this is actually the airbrush she brought me for Christmas. And, I literally had no idea what I was doing, and it was super frustrating, and I watched all the videos I could find, and, it was daunting. I mean, I just didn't understand, even though people would show you for the most part what was going on. I just didn't get it. But I just kept after it. I kept trying it, and there was one other guy that I knew locally that did a little bit of airbrushing, and he tried to help me as much as he could, but I don't know, it just took a while for it to click in my head, and then finally, Twitch really became a thing, and channels like Next Level Painting, and Monument Hobbies nowadays, I forget, Jason Craze is the painter over there. Those guys, they were doing it live. They were airbrushing live, and they would literally field questions. And sometimes, if you said, hey, how do you X, Y, Z, they would stop and do it, like in the middle of their stream. And so that was super duper helpful for me. Again, sorry for that stupid compressor. I should really drag that out in the hallway, but sometimes I'm just too lazy to do it. Don't tell John I said that. So anyway, I kept after it, and eventually I got to the point where I had puzzled some things out. I even the owner of Badger Airbrush, Ken, I can't think of Ken's last name. He goes to ReaperCon. Amongst other conventions, many other conventions when such things happen. And so I ran into him there. I bought some stuff from him while I was there, and I just asked him, some questions, and he gave me pointers. It's just, generally speaking, the airbrush community, from a gaming perspective for miniatures, is really helpful. And so I was finally able to puzzle out how to do some useful stuff, and then once I figured that out, it sort of exploded. There are lots of other local miniature painters that would show up at our paint day, and they were curious. And so I've shown, I don't know, a dozen or more people all the things that I know about airbrushing, which isn't a ton. Like I said, I'm not anything. I'm just a hobbyist in terms of painting, but I know enough tricks to help people get started, to help people, like sort of get over the initial learning curve really quickly. So that's where I am. But yeah, I encourage you, give it a shot. And that's, Imran, you mentioned priming. I think that is one of the best ways to start to use your airbrush to begin with. You just literally start priming models. Hold on a second. So my wife is getting ready to paint a Reaper model. Hopefully John won't get mad for me showing off a Reaper model here. But I had earlier when I was priming these guys black, I had a little paint left over, and so instead of just spraying it out, I just sprayed what was left over on this guy. I'm eventually going to primer him black for her completely, so I didn't want to waste the paint. But yeah, I mean, just learning the control, priming models is the best way to get started with learning how to use your airbrush. Well, okay, I appreciate that. I think that's a compliment. At least I think it's a compliment. I look, there are people that are 100% worthy of teaching anyone, like how to paint, how to airbrush, how to paint with a regular brush. There are incredibly talented people out there that make their living by educating others and painting for others. And I never want to. I'm not here to nose into their territory. If you want to learn how to airbrush, I highly recommend on Twitch, there's a channel called Next Level Painting. Kenny Boucher is a fantastic airbrusher. There are certainly others that are just as good, but he's very accessible because he's here on Twitch. If you want to learn how to brush paint, James Wobble can't be beat on Twitch. Mocha's Minis, Soshi's painting channel. Gosh, I always get to this point. I want to recommend Yeji's channel, and I can never think of Yeji's channel. God, there's so many good people on Twitch. That's where you learn. And those people are really the ones that should be teaching people how to paint. I'm just, like I said, I'm just a guy that you might run into at the local paint day who would be happy to share the few tricks that I've dredged up out of the ether. All right, so now we're going to get some white paint on here. I really wish we could get Master Guns or Ross. Ross can't really stream because he lives out in the middle of nowhere, and well, it's a beautiful place to live, and I'm totally jealous of his property and all the birds and whatnot that he has access to for his photography. He just has no internet connection, so he can't realistically be a Twitch streamer right now. Master Guns, I think, probably could. I wish we could con him to come on and paint for you guys, because he's awesome. Plus he's entertaining as heck when you get him going. He's very opinionated in a good way. Yeah, Ross is, yeah. Ross's life is unnecessarily complicated, not his own fault. I wish him the best. I wish him much the best. All right, so now I'm coming in here just to put a little icing on the cake, really. Just want the highest highlights to be just bright as I can make them, so that whatever color I decide to put over there will be brightest on the high parts of this little bump of terrain that I've got. Again, I'm really trying to use the airbrush to make it quick and fast for me to come in and paint highlights. So get these painted highlights, and I'm going to try and flock them, I think, probably. And then I'll come in and or I might paint them first a little bit. I haven't made up my mind yet. last but not least, this guy right here. All right, so that's pretty much it. Gonna let those dry for a little while, and then we'll come in and try and do some fun stuff with those guys. All right. Hey, Smitty. I was hoping you would pop in tonight. How you doing, amigo? That's awesome. Just because I'm an old man, I want to make sure I've got the Discord Smitty and the Twitch Smitty connected, right? That you made the Filk post earlier. Was that you, Smitty, or am I just lost? Yeah, I thought so. Happy to see you say that, man. It's been a long time since I've ran into anybody who was a fan of Filk music. I'm super happy to yeah. Yeah. Super happy to hear that. That was like out of the blue, like the sort of thing you don't it's like I was surprised. In D&D, I could have been the rogue would have got like backstrike on me because I had no idea that comment about Filk was coming out of anywhere. Man, I haven't. Like I said, I haven't encountered a person that has been into Filk in a long time. Anyway, glad you're here. Hope you're doing well. Like I said, I'm just working on cleaning up these self-propelled guns a little bit, trying to get them mounted on their bases so we can be done with these guys and move on to my pilot in the Misdeeds freebooters. Get a little more paint over here. Yes, Minnie. I'm the same way. When I was very young, and I first discovered those kinds of things when I could go to science fiction conventions on my own, and we were buying cassette tapes that were recorded in somebody's basement of Leslie. I'm gonna brain fart and not be able to think of their names. Leslie Fish. What was her name? Anyway, just all kinds of cool people. Heather Alexander was one of my favorites. She still sings, although it's not. Heather became James a few years ago, and his name is James Alexander now, and still sings, still performs. Occasionally, you get to catch him here at a local Renaissance fair. One of my favorite Filk singers. Yeah, I saw that. Ilmarin, that's, it's unfortunately photography's a thing too. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that thing in real life one day. You could always tinker with that photo in, one of the editing programs, see if you can punch up the values or just drown it in light. Just take another picture of it, but get some lamps and just drown it in light until you get the right look for it. So there's an old there's an old Filk I don't know what you call them, I guess album, although I don't think it was ever actually a physical album. It was a cassette tape called -10 and Counting that has on it a song about the Pioneer exploration probes. And that song, it just stuck with me when I was young. It was just, sort of a baleful, soulful song about these devices we made and sent out into space that we would never see again, but yet we're, out there as sort of our emissaries to whatever might find them. And when I was young, a young parent, I would sing that song to my kids. Back then there were radio stations, and we didn't even have CD players in cars. It was still like cassette tapes and, maybe even 8 tracks if you had an old car. And so I would just sing that song to my little girls, and they loved it to the point where they still like me to sing it to them. I mean, it's a part of their childhood that we sent them out to the planets song. I could sing it to you now. I know every word. Oh yeah, maybe too much light, Ilmarin? Yeah. Just take a series of pictures of it in like, with like the light closer, and then move it further back and further back and further back. And the inverse square law will get rid of, will reduce the light over time. And then you just take those into a photo program. Paint.net is a free, really good photo editing program if you don't already have one. Throw them in there and just tinker with it. Play with the contrast, play with the levels. You'll be able to pull a good photo out of there somehow. Toss some 8-track readers today at work. Wow. Yeah, those things are old. I still see them every once in a blue moon. You'll see one at a yard sale. Actually, we still have, back in the day, you used to be able to get 8-track recorders, and so we still have a homemade recording of my wife's father, us talking, just singing, just being a dad, just doing dad stuff. And man, this brings back memories. Kid in a cult. I'm not sure I get that completely, but everything else in that sentence I can relate to completely. Just not sure about the cult thing. Not sure where you're going with that or what that is intended to mean. I think I missed some context, perhaps. Ilmarin, yeah, it might be time for an upgrade of some kind. I mean, heck, nowadays, again, I don't mean to, not trying to be a jerk or anything, but you can get phones nowadays that are powerful enough. You could use them as your main PC. I think you could live your life with just a phone. Religious cult. All right, Smitty, that I hope you're in a happy place now, and I'm super glad that you like Filk. Super glad that you like Filk. Back in the day, Heather Alexander did a song called the March of Cambrith. And it's just a really passionate, fiery, bassy sort of, hey, let's fight those, I'm not sure what we can say here, bastards till they yield. Yeah. Anyway, it's a great song by Heather Alexander. And James Alexander has great music too, of course, does his new stuff nowadays. I'm just a fan. It's a, talented writer and a person who's a capable performer, lots of fun to see live. Just a hoot. The reason I go down to the Muskogee Renaissance Fair is almost always just to meet Mr. Alexander and hang out with him and listen to his music and, buy whatever his latest CD is. And just have a great old time. Brings back memories from when I was a kid. Yeah, Smitty, cool. Totally awesome. Like I said, I'm glad you're in a good place now. Yeah, these guys, I'm not sure quite what to do with them. I mean, honestly, probably the best thing to do in the current rules is to just write them up as a vehicle and, give them like some negative essays, like, bad turn radius. I forget what they're called, but, there's like slow, bulky, those kinds of, Ilmarin. I think at some point in time, John is going to probably even make us some, and this is just me, this is conjecture from things I've heard him say. I think at some point in time, he may actually make us some anti-tank guns that are legit and put them in the rules and write up notes for them. Not quite sure what those rules are going to look like. He's not even promised to do it. He just, when I mentioned that we needed anti-tank guns, he was like, you got a point. Maybe we do. So in the future, we might be lucky and get some official rules. In the meantime, like I said, I would probably just crack open the the vehicle creation program, or the creation program, and make a vehicle up, and just try and make like a kind of crippled tank in terms of its ability to move and whatnot, but give it a nice anti-tank gun, like maybe a couple of medium Max or something along those lines, or just call this, like the combination of this is, I mean, it could be a heavy PPG, it could be just whatever makes you happy. Yeah, I think those are wonderful, Smitty. I love the way those things look. I'm sure they were just a terrible vehicle to serve your tour of duty in, but they did. They're just so much fun. That World War One tank that the Germans made that looked like a shoebox on treads. I can't think of its name. I love the way that thing looks. I think it's just a hoot. That's the kind of thing I like to see in my sci-fi games. Just things that are a little outlandish, a little not realistic. The one thing like I said, I mean, when I come to play a science fiction game, I'm really looking for science fiction. So, decide what flavor of science fiction that you've got for me, and then just push into it hard. I don't want a game that looks like, the modern military with more curves and spikier bits. A7V, that's it. Yeah, absolutely, Smitty, you nailed it. Double heavy LBGs on those? I mean, absolutely. Laser bolt guns would be fantastic. Those things are range 10, I think. They have increased accuracy, so they treat extreme and long. They fire one better. I can't remember the exact rule, but they basically at extreme and long range, I think they're +1 to hit is what it really boils down to. And so that's probably the best. Yeah, those are probably strength 5, I'm thinking. You could, in a pinch, salvo fire the two of them to get a +1 if you needed to. I can't imagine a self-propelled gun having like a targeting computer or anything like that. They're bound to be intended to be cheap, deployed kind of in like a defensive way. Yeah, I think I like that the best, Ilmarin, heavy LBGs. Yeah, and these things don't want to get close to anything. I mean, they don't ever want to see infantry. They don't ever want to see a particle bolt gun that's actually in range. No, these things are, don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me, I'm going to punch you in the face. That sort of thing. So right now I'm just kind of running around trying to, I've taken the base orange that I've used for this, which is Ember Orange from P3, and I've kind of lightened it up with just whatever I grabbed off the shelf, some Minotaur Ghost Tint Yellow. It's an airbrush glaze sort of thing that I would normally, super duper thin, but I just wanted it to kind of stain the orange from, I don't know if you can see. Drag this. Nah, you can't see. God, my camera setup is terrible. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, it basically takes this orange. Let's see if I get the orange on here without spilling it on my model. And you mix these two and you get just, a yellower orange. God, this is terrible. I'm sorry. You guys need to go watch a real channel. Go over and hang out with Mr. Wapple. He's on right now, actually decorating cookies. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going to go downstairs and watch him decorate cookies. Taking a break from painting like award-winning models to decorating cookies on stream. Anyway, I think the guy's done enough for me. Yeah, it's great to have fun with the stories, but when it comes time to play, when we finally get a chance to play, Schmitty, you got to have some models assembled. Got to have some models assembled. That being said, I mean, this game, it needs more fluff. So, I mean, you're not wasting your time. I mean, if you're dreaming up, like backstory for pilots or a unit or some conflict or something, I mean, we need that. I mean, even if it's unofficial, just we need people to make stuff up so we have stories to tell. That's why I was super happy. I can't remember. I think it was Dave C. No, not C. I can't remember. There was somebody during the virtual CavCon that had the idea of a custom pirate unit, and I was just like, yeah, that is a fantastic idea. Let's find a way to make that happen. And hopefully we will eventually. It's been slow, but I think we're going to get there eventually. We've got Ilmarin's done. I'm going to get mine finished hopefully in the next month or so. Yeah, I love it. Mad Mike's, that's the place that sells nukes, or it's the Nuclear Emporium or something like that. I remember you mentioned that in the chat last week a couple of times. But yeah, I mean that's the kind of thing. I mean, Cav is in an actual high tech universe. It's not like that other game, the BTech game, where like I don't know, like I think they sit around campfires at night or something, trying to stay warm in their mechs. Anyway, they've suffered so much that they don't have a ton of technology. Whereas Cav, I mean, let's face it, they have social media. They have the Cav equivalent of Facebook and Twitch and Amazon Prime and Disney Plus and all those things. Those things should exist in Cav. So there should be commercials. I think there should be a sports league. Mad Mike's, Nuke Rentals, and Discount Merc Emporium. Ilmarin is working on his Adon Peacekeepers. Yeah. Have you posted pictures of those? I feel like I've seen those. Yeah, literally. Yeah, they're the guys that they get like the Super Bowl commercials that come right at the very end, and they're like 15 seconds a piece, and they paid $1 trillion to get them. Yeah, Ilmarin. Adon's just way more complicated than I first realized they were in the game. I read as much of their history as exists, and I realized just they've basically gotten involved in like every conflict that's happened, almost every conflict. There are a couple of wars that are mentioned in the side notes of the Cav book that don't really have any detail. They never say who the opponents are or when they ended or anything like that. But I mean, other than those two, it seems like the Adonese have been involved in every major conflict that's happened, for the last 200 years. Hey, Cab Boss. I wasn't sure if you'd show up tonight. Oh yeah. The guys that are just very what's the right way to put it? Lord, they're just very bold. The colors are sort of just fundamental. They're not blended or mixed, which is perfectly fine for them. It looks great that way. Flashy lights, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I like that. All right, last one for a few highlights. And then I think maybe what we might do is try and put some flock on those bases, maybe. I'm just kind of coming in and lightening this up after that oil wash, just coming in and adding a few colors, a few highlights where the orange should probably be just a little bit lighter. Like I said, these are tabletop at best. Just trying to have something to throw down. I probably should have went with that's kind of my problem, all right? So I'm a fairly slow painter, and so I should really paint everything in the same scheme. That way I can field it all and it makes sense. But then I'm painting everything in the same scheme, and I probably get bored eventually. It's like, I don't know if I'll ever do anybody else in this particular scheme. I might, I guess, just to make a playable force of these guys. Maybe. Wow, somebody actually rated us. It's like this has never happened to me before. New Way Designs, thank you very much. Everybody that happens to have just joined us, thank you very much. Hey, yay, New Way Designs. So, for those of you who don't know, this is the Talon Games Twitch channel. Talon Games is the manufacturer and the source for all things Cav Strike Operations. It's a giant stompy robot game. Do we have giant stompy robots? So like these guys right here, these kind of robots right here. These are some sort of kit bashed self-propelled guns I'm making for the game. Welcome in. This is a channel we do. Swear to God, 2020, the year that I get my cab table built and things painted. Join us. Literally, that's what I want to do too. I mean, I've got a few things painted, but my cab table is basically it's all borrowed. So yeah, absolutely, that's a fantastic goal. This is just a sort of a hang out and have fun channel. All we do is 4 starter sets at CavCon 2019. All right, I'm 100% certain you and I have met in UA Designs. Do you do paint racks? Is that what New Way Designs does? Paint racks and things of that nature? I thought so. Yeah, I'm 100% sure you and I have met a couple of times. I've got a couple of your products off screen here somewhere. Oh, they're in the other room. I'm 100% certain of that. Anyway, so this is just a hangout and paint channel. This is I'm not here to teach anybody anything. This is just guys and gals and assorted other individuals hanging out and just chilling out, painting like you would at a shop. If we could all get together at a shop, sharing stories, listening to Schmitty tell us hilarious things about Mad Mike's nuclear rentals, which is apparently a meme that's cropped up in Cav of late. Mike believes in freedom before and second anything you give you a new. Well, hey, okay, yeah. So I'm not sure Nukes are as available as maybe Nuke is a euphemism he has for some really powerful modified Cav that he has. Because I'm thinking Nukes are probably just a little bit more hard to get your hands on than Mad Mike's. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Mad Mike is the source for the Rock and everybody else to get their hands on nuclear weapons when they need to. Seems like just the kind of place we need to be distributing global devastation. Wow. A raid. It's amazing. Happened along a slightly damaged vessel. Slightly damaged. Did he trademark that slightly damaged? Is that a thing of Mad Mike's? Things are slightly damaged and then slightly increased in price? I like it. Now we need a folk song about Mad Mike's, Smitty. Make it so, number one. You can do it. All right. Gets lost or falls off a proverbial truck, and that payload gets nicked by the space rats. So are misdeeds of freebooters part of your supply chain, or are they your customers, Smitty? Adon would like to know your location. Yeah. The Adon's peacekeepers are very interested in the stall you have. They keep trying to find it, but it seems to move on a nightly basis. I like the way the story is panning out already. Ilmarin's trying to bring this guy to justice, and he just keeps, he just keeps moving. He doesn't have a permanent address. Huh. So, I think there's going to be, for those of us who might not know, there's going to be a virtual CavCon. I'm not 100% sure what that means. We had a virtual CavCon back in the fall, and I can tell you what that meant because I was at it, and so obviously that one's in the past. I can tell you exactly what that one did. This one I think may be a little bit different, but I'm not sure what CavBoss's plans are. So I won't try and speculate too much, but in March there's going to be some kind of large volume of online activity. Games probably, painting probably, giveaways probably, although Cthulhu will win all of those like he did last time. Cthulhu's a follower, and he won like it seemed like every other hour he was winning something during virtual CavCon. But yeah, so that's coming up sometime in the near future. I'm looking forward to getting that figured out. The crew of criminals, war orphans, the cows. He got the tech when the planet he happened to live on got slightly okay. Well, Smitty, this guy is he's a legend. Obviously, he's a legend. A big time legend. Maybe to the point where it's like not even really just a place. Maybe it's like a meme or like a fable that covers like everybody who does this sort of black markety dealing stuff. Maybe there once was, or maybe there actually is, but nowadays everybody basically pretends to be Mad Mikes. So Mad Mikes can be in Rock Space and Adon Space and behind Terra and over next to the Templars and pickpocketing the Almira Thul all in the same day. Yeah, basically. Ilmarin's got the right of it. We're striking to the core here. Giving away Smitty's secrets we didn't even get told. All right. That was loud. I don't know if you guys heard that, but I'm assuming everybody downstairs is safe. Hopefully. Don't hear any cries of pain, so I guess they all survived whatever that encounter was. I hope. All right, good enough. Interesting. Yeah, so I know John has got a product coming up where there's some new model releases and a set of scenarios and stories that are all heavily Egyptian themed. It's from that. It's related to that board that he's building on Tuesday nights when he's doing the Terrain Tuesdays, the things that he's been working on for seems like forever. And when I was doing the research for the Big Stompy podcast last week, I really poured through all of the fiction that's in the main rule book. And I noticed in the mercenaries section, there's some talk about a conflict on a planet that is essentially, it has a very strong Egyptian feel. I can't remember the exact name of it. I'm not good at memorizing those sorts of things. But if you get a chance, crack your book open and go back into the mercenaries section and read the backgrounds. 10mm dual cast infantry, or will they stay metal? That's a great question. That is a great question. If I'm speculating they're going to stay metal, but I don't know. Would be curious to see John answer that. If he doesn't, if he's not paying attention right now, be sure and ask that tomorrow during his terrain stream or on Wednesday during the chit chat session if you want. I think that's something that I'm interested in hearing the answer to as well. All right, so now we're going to come back in here and we're going to work on these guys. We are going to put this is some thin down PVA glue. I'm sure you've all done this a trillion times. Anybody here that's been hobbying for any amount of time has slapped PVA glue on something, even if they didn't mean to. Dual cast ones at some point. Well, there you go, from the man himself. Pretty sure you could take that to the bank. All right, so I'm definitely gonna cover up the parts where there's no green stuff because I want that to be grassy. And then I'm gonna put this kind of up the side of this. I don't know what you want to call this. This mound or mode of like piled with dirt or just undulation in the terrain. And I'm going to put some, in a few other places. Like I want there to be some grass that'll stick in these areas. Like it's kind of growing up in the cracks right here. Maybe a little bit right there. I need to watch Terrain Tuesdays more so I can learn more about doing this flocking stuff. I don't have a very particular good selection of flock. I don't really care for the colors I have. They're very neutral. But maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. So move that off to the side. Terran Hell Jumpers. I like the sound of that. Yeah, I welcome some custom bases, Mr. Designs. I'm a fan of your products, the ones that I've seen, and I would love. I don't like making my own bases. I prefer buying bases. All right. Get a little bit of this flock on here. Just let that over there to dry. And now we're going to rinse and repeat for these other bases. I'm quite sure Cab Boss is out there going, no, that's not how you do this. Oh my God, what a noob, what a rookie. You're terrible. James, stop it. Yeah. See, I would love to play against that kind of thing. It would be a hoot. It'd be the sort of thing, you would tell stories about. It's like, so we showed up at this battle and we're expecting to fight calves, and we got swarmed by these angry, I don't know, Scotsmen in kilts or something. They were just everywhere. Them and their dumb airplanes too. Then we just bury that in the stuff. Tap it off, so the looser stuff, maybe go back in for a second touch. Tap that off, set that off to the side. Yep. We talk about crazy things sometimes, Mr. New Way. Mr. Design. Mr. Designs, have you been on the Models Workshop podcast before? I feel like I've maybe heard you on there before with Larry Killian, I think his name is. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I listened to Mr. Killian for a long time before he took his hiatus. I've heard him back on a few times recently, but nothing real regular just yet. Well, I listen to a lot of podcasts, Mr. Designs. I listened to the Model Workshop podcast for a very, very, very long time. I was a Patreon of theirs for a long time. I've met him at ReaperCon the last time we were there. He was the first time he was there, but the last time, I guess I should do this on the screen. It would be a lot easier to watch if I was underneath the camera. Professional streaming, I'm telling you. 100%. Dab there. There's some right there. Come up this way. So everything comes in from the table edge inside of a vehicle. Cool. I like the sound of that. I would totally love to see that. Have you written it up yet, Ilmarin? Do you know what it looks like, or is it just still a thought in your head? Have you statted it out? Okay. I'd be curious to see what you're thinking. Are you going to, do you have points in mind yet? Do you have any idea how many points you're planning on writing this thing up at? The standard tournament used to be 5,000. I think John may have changed it to 4,500 or something last time I heard, but we've not played a 4,500 one, just only 5,000 ones. Well, I recommend jumping in at 2,500. 2,500 is a great point level for this game to do, a couple of hour battle with people that are kind of know the rules. You don't have to really be good at them to figure it out in a couple of hours. You get stuck in real quick, and 2,500 points will keep you entertained for an afternoon. Whatever makes you happy, Mr. Smitty. They're your toys. You play with them however you want. But, just the idea that you're going in and pulling the arms off of your favorite toys, kind of, it's a thing. Says a little bit. Just no judgment. Just it is what it is. think that's how most supervillains get their start, you know, taking their toys apart to see what makes them tick. Maybe. All right, guys, it's really quickly coming up on 9 o'clock. I'm only doing an hour. I got things to do. I got to go watch Mr. James Wapple make cookies. New A Designs. Thank you very much for dropping in. Please, anything. If you want to make some hex spaces that have pretty stuff on them, I'd be happy. I'd recommend 40 and 50 millimeter hex spaces are the sizes that I prefer for this game. It gives you a little bit more room to do, you know, stylish things with. Wow, 9-hour drive. All right, Schmitty, you travel safe. Thanks for popping in. Send me your favorite Filk song in the Discord channel so I can listen to it. Yeah, New Way. I know how to find your contact info on Facebook or the internet, either one. So I will contact you. Ilmarin says Condors are $199 and can hold a light infantry and a PA each. Merry Christmas, Smitty. If I don't see you again before Christmas, enjoy your holiday, whatever kind of holiday that might happen to be. Yeah, tank treads would be great. That's, you know, I have some of the old, good Lord, I am terrible with names. There's a company at ReaperCon that sold little rubber molds that had stuff sculpted in them that we pressed into the screen stuff to make these decorations. But yeah, that would be great. Taseki too. I don't know the points off the top of my head, Ilmarin, but yeah, that's fine. Don't forget you can all, yeah, that's it. I think they went out of business though, unfortunately. You're right, Designs. Ilmarin, don't forget, you know, unless you're playing in a tournament, which clearly you're not because you're running infantry, you can go in and you can buy SAs, special abilities for those guys to increase their carrying capacity. You can increase their transport ability. I think you can just straight up increase it by buying the, you know, like an upgrade, or you could maybe take a Loadmaster, which is sort of like a crew member who's able to stuff extra stuff into the same space. Good night, Designs. Glad to see you around, man. Nice to see you. Yep. Good night, boss. See you tomorrow, I presume, on the Terrain Tuesdays. Ilmarin, again, I don't have the points in front of me, so I'm not sure what the points are, but just, you know, really just go with what you like the looks of, right? I mean, you're not trying to make us, you know, something that's going to win like a tournament because you're playing infantry. John's not going to let you play infantry in a tournament, probably. So just go through the airplanes that have transport and see which ones you like and just build it from there. All right, so time to summarize probably here. So this is Christmas week, but I think we shall have a full broadcast schedule as far as I know. Well, I like that one, John. I love that emote. I hope that's ours. Tomorrow night, Terrain Tuesday with John Cabboss. He's working on the Egyptian terrain. Go in there and pester him and see if you can get him to surrender some more information that he's not ready to give up. Wednesday night, just chatting with me and Cabboss. I'm not sure what John's topic is going to be. Maybe we'll get him to talk about how Santa Claus gets to all the good little girls and good little boys, pilots, you know, like cockpits on Christmas Eve across all the planets of all of known space. How does that even happen, John? Come on, that's inquiring minds want to know. All right, well, I will see you all again on Wednesday. I appreciate you all dropping by. I'm going to try my best to finish this squad of these guys offline so we can move on to bigger and better things, namely this crazy modified Simba, hopefully in the near future. I appreciate you all showing up. I appreciate you all hanging out with me. Take care. Be safe. Be kind to each other. Talk to you later.